Welcome to all. Today we are going to learn about cost benefit analysis. First of all, see what is the cost benefit analysis, the subject matter of the cost benefit analysis. The cost benefit analysis it is a popular method of project evaluation and is to consider the cost benefit analysis of different projects and then to select involving lesser cost and yielding greater benefit. The origin of the cost benefit analysis can be traced back to welfare economics in 19th century. So this is the first time they introduced. The first practical embodiment of this cost benefit analysis of net benefit occurred in 1930s in realm of water resources. According to Flood Control Act of 1936, the principle of comparing benefit to whomsoever they may occur with the estimated cost, and this reveals the unmistakably the social nature of public investment. Here in 1950s, first time the academic interest was being increased in the cost benefit analysis was growing. However, in 1958, with the simultaneous publication works by Exton, Macken, Crutilla, and Exton, these publication attempts to formalize the public investment criteria in relations to the established criteria of welfare economics. But the benefits were traced back to the consumer surplus introduced by Marshall, Dupuit, and others. And ranking in terms of net social benefit was justified in terms of Pareto criteria for welfare economics. Let us understand the welfare foundation of cost benefit analysis with the help of the this diagram. The aim of the cost benefit analysis, which I already said, is to channel resources into project which yield the greatest gain in net benefit to the society. Now here the maximization of net benefit means the maximization of the total society or summation of the social utility. And Dupuit explained this in first time in 1844. Now we'll understand this with the help of this figure. Now here it is assumed that any new project undertaking that will lower the cost, that is from MC1 to MC2, and it is results there's a market prices is determined at price also it is also decreased at the point of intersection of marginal cost with a demand curve BQ. This is a demand curve. At the new price, the consumer is willing to pay is O, B, D, E. So this is the consumer actually willing to pay this much for the quantity of OQ. The area OBDE is having two parts. That is the amount actually paid, that is OHD. So this is actually paid, and the extra amount they are willing to pay, that is here that is HBD. This is willing to pay and actually paid OHD. So this is the differences we can see consumer surplus. At C, we can say that the total price which the consumer are willing to pay was O, B, C, K. So this is the initially they paying this much O, B, C willing to pay. So the changes willing to pay results with the lower price, that is KEDC. So this K and again EDC. So this much they actually willing to pay, and KEDC is a result of lower price. In simple, the lower price increases gross benefit by the area of KEDC. So KEDC will be gross benefited because of the marginal cost is reduced, so that lower prices. Now here the increased benefit involves extra cost of KEDF. See, KEDF, this is a extra cost. Hence, the next gain, the benefit triangle is FDC. This is the triangle, and this triangle is divided among the consumers and the producers surplus. GCD and GFD. GCD and GFD. So this total GCD is divided, FCD divided into GCD and GFD. It is divided two triangles. GCD is this GCD is the consumer surplus, and this GFD is the producer surplus. Now we'll see the what say about different economists. Now see, first of all, the Tippett. He used the combined surplus, that is a producer surplus and consumer surplus, in order to measure changes in welfare that is arising from the imposition of toll and bridge crossing. He just given some example. So what about the Marshall? So Marshall adopted this consumer surplus concept to measure this consumer changes in welfare under constant marginal utility of income. When you see that Hotelling and Hicks, they said that consumer concept, this consumer surplus concept can be an important, according to Hotelling and Hicks, the consumer surplus concept, it can be retained by dropping the assumption of cardinal utility and the constancy of marginal utility of income. When you come to the point of Pareto, a state in which he said that no one will be better off without someone else being made worse off. So it means any change in economic organization that makes everyone better off, or simply say that one that makes one or more member of the society better off without making any people of worse off, and that is called as an Pareto improvement. So here there is a interpersonal comparison also he is used in his analysis. General conditions for cost benefit analysis. Here B minus C, B minus C by I, increment in B minus C by I, and B by C. Here we will say that one, you know that B is the benefit and C is the cost. And what I indicate that it is an indirect investment. We know that there is a delta which says one changes or increment of that is uh, benefit or increment of investment. So now here, if the private investment happens to be very large, say example very large, then even the high value of B minus C by I may be less beneficial to the economy. So because it is not giving any social positive result, and it is not very useful of that project, and it will not give any criteria, any kind of satisfactory result to the society. And another criteria what you see, that one increment in B by increment in C, which shows that the size of the project, which whether it's a big or small project. Especially the B minus C, that is benefit minus cost, it is largely favors large products and makes small and medium size of project less beneficial. And that's why the scale of the project on the basis of maximization of differences between the benefit minus cost. The important criteria which we can evaluate the project is that the ratio method, that is a B by C. If B by C equals 1, then the project is marginal, additional, because the benefit occurring from the project, from that project, is just recovering the cost. If the B minus C, B by C, that is the ratio, is benefits are less than the cost, then this project is rejected. If B by C is more than the cost, the ratio is more than the cost, and the project is profitable. See, less than equals are more than. If higher the cost ratio, then we will say that the more the profitable of that particular project. But this criteria does not account any time factor. So B minus C by I, and the project and the ratio, it is not have involved any time factors. The future benefit and cost cannot be treated equally at the present cost and benefit. So that's why there is required a evaluation required for discounting the future benefits and cost, because the society prefers the present to the future, and that's why economists are given different types of decision criteria for making a cost benefit analysis. We'll see that few of it in detail. That is, the first one, net present value criteria. This is again one important criteria for project evaluation. So in this we can say that if NPV, net present value, equals present value of a benefit minus gross present value of cost, it is present. If net present value is greater than 0, then this project is socially profitable. If there are number of mutually exclusive projects available, then the project with the highest net present value of benefit will be accepted and chosen. Once again, the net present value, that is present value criteria method for project evaluation, it is once again neglect the time horizon. So here the capital investment gives benefit after the lapse of some time. Therefore, the future benefit and cost cannot be equated with the present benefit and cost. So that's why it is very important to discount future benefits and cost, because society is prefers present cost benefit to the future cost benefit, and this can be explained with the following discount uh, factor. Here we will say that D equals 1 by 1 plus IT. Here I indicates social discount rate and T indicates time period. Now here NPU, net present value, equals, here we can say B1, B2, B3 up to Bn indicates a gross present benefits in different year of period, and divided by it's a social discount and the and the different time period. So that is 1 plus 1 I different, that is different years, minus, this is a benefit side, minus C1, C2, C3 up to a series of gross present cost in different years. And what I already said, that is I, it is of social discount rate and different period of time, that is the different years. So that is the first, second, third year up to different year. Here only those projects which are should be selected with the present value of a benefit exceeds the present value of cost. So that one only we can select it. So project can be selected where the benefit part is more than the cost part. So if in case that one B by C, which already discussed that different criteria for cost benefit analysis, B by C. The ratio of present value of a benefit to present value of cost should be greater than 1. Then the selection of project is, that is B1, B2, that is different years, and the social discount rate and different period of time divided by cost ratio is a greater than 1. Now here another one, the internal rate of returns. The internal rate of returns refers to the percentage rate of returns implicit in the flow of benefit and cost of a project. Margin defines the internal rate of returns IRR as a discount rate at which the present value of returns minus cost is 0. Present value of returns, that is a benefit, minus cost is 0. The mathematical formula is where you can see there is a B1, B2, there is a different years, minus cost divided by 1 minus social discount rate plus 1, that is bracket 1 plus B2 minus, so this is how the present value of returns and the cost, and it should be 0. In case if it is a mutually exclusive project, the project to be selected must have high rate of returns. So now in this they have certain limitations which are needs to be observed. Here we'll see some of the limitations one by one. That is, it is not possible to change the rate of returns assumed for calculation of profitability of the project, and it's very difficult to calculate returns on long term gestation of project, and this criteria is not applicable to highly capital intensive projects, and it's very difficult to calculate internal rate of returns with the entire investment outlay of particular project of the first period. And this use of higher public investment, it's not leading to correct decision, and it is very difficult to make choice between alternative investments on the basis of their alternative internal rate of returns. And layered points that the problem of capital rationing where projects cannot be selected on the basis of ranking in order of the rate of returns. So it can be selected on the basis of their net present value. So this internal rate of returns purely depends upon social discount rate, and it is the projects that depends upon discount rate if net present value of the project are given. Now in this figure, we will learn that the discount rate is measured along the x-axis and NPV we measured on the y-axis. The curve II depicts investment of project of I, and the QQ depicts investment project of Q. The IRR project Q is higher than that of I because the rate OR, this OR is greater than OR1. At OQ2, in this point at OQ2, the IRR of both the projects, so here at the IRR at the point of OQ1, the IRR projects are equal. But if the discount rates falls below OQ2, then the project I is be chosen because in this case NPV is higher, that is I and K. The choice is based on the changes in discount rate, which is called as the switching and reswitching. So here the choice is making a discount rate, and that is called as the switching and reswitching. Now we'll understand the relation between NPV and IRR. The NPV is called as the social discount rate, and the rate of returns are two criteria which are being used for choosing any of the project. And the relation of these can be understood with the help of this diagram. As NPV falls, the discount rate increases. A situation arises when NPV becomes negative. The rate at which NPV changes from positive to the negative, for this section of the project, the IRR must be higher than its discount rate. That is, R is greater than I. In this figure, IRR taken as 10% selected for a development as long NPV is greater than 0 and R greater than I. That is, 10 is greater than 5%. 10 is greater than 5%. So for different complex projects, so these two criteria are being used. They are for different results and they are interchangeable. And this project method are using to evaluating the private and public sectors. So, and also the NPV criteria always superior because it can give an incorrect result in different circumstances. Now we'll discuss social rate of discount. Now here in social rate of discount, here the society always prefers present to future. The future generation are always like to have higher level of income. If the principle of diminishing marginal utility operates, the utility gained to future generation from a given amount of benefit will be less than utility that is gains to the present generation, so the future generation must be discounted. Here we'll discuss that one. The rate at which social discount rate is the rate at which future generation must be discounted to make them comparable with the present benefit is called as the social discount rate. In simple, it is the rate of premium which the society puts for preferring present consumption to the future consumption. And this can be explained with the help of the diagram. Now in this figure, the present consumption is measured on the OX axis A1 and the A2 along the vertical axis as a future consumption. And this A and A2 is called as a transformation and investment possibility curve, and it consists of series of projects, different projects arranged from left to the right in order of the rate of returns. The cost of sacrifice of present consumption and returns in the gain the consumption of in future. So here the society will choose from various investment policies, different investment policies, so as to reach its highest social indifference curve S1 at G. The slope of transformation curve represents this transformation A to A1 represents the rate of returns and investment, and social indifference curve, that is S1, it represents the rate of time preferences. In simple, we can say the social discount rate is determined by the equality, that is at point G, the equality of the rate of returns on the investment and the time preferences, that is S1 in point G. Now we'll discuss few of the points, the uses of cost benefit analysis. Now here the important benefits, we're going to see that one, the evaluation on the basis of benefits. So here we can say, see, benefits always, we say that one, addition to the flow of national output resulting from the investment of any particular projects. So whether these projects are profitable and is any contribution to the national output, and that can be understood based on this cost benefit analysis. So in this we can understand the real benefits and also direct and indirect benefits, and there is also, you can say, tangible and intangible benefits. Of all this we can evaluate of any of the projects. And again we'll see that evaluation on the basis of cost. So we are making a different evaluations, that is a real and nominal cost are there, primary and secondary cost, and associate cost means the value of goods and services need beyond this included the cost of the project to make immediate products or services the projects available for the use or the sale, and also projects costs. So these are all, see, evaluation on the basis of benefits, evaluation on the based on cost. For that purpose this is being used. Now here some of the limitations. In this we'll discuss that. Difficulties in benefit assessment. See, the rate of discount assumed for any project is always arbitrary, and there is no perfect method to find any social discount rate, and it's always been a subject to phenomena. And again we'll say that arbitrary, that is, ignores the opportunity cost. It is also ignores the opportunity cost, the transfer cost, and also problem of externalities, the side effects, to calculate any project, whether positive or negative. See, and again the problem is that selecting appropriate decision rules. So as we know that there are NPV criteria and IRA criteria and SRE criteria. So all these criteria have their own advantages, and there is also disadvantages as well. So that's why it is very difficult to decide appropriate decision which based on which criteria, and it is very difficult to make a cost assessment because different costs are involved in different projects. And again, there is also difficult that neglecting joint benefits and cost. So you know that there are number of direct and indirect benefits flowing any of the projects, and it's very difficult to evaluate and calculate both the cost and benefits separately. And finally, adjustment for risk and uncertainty. So these are all the certain limitations of this cost benefit analysis. Thank you all. Thank you for watching.